brief on what it is?
Map of consciousness.
Yeah.
Reintroduce it real
So
quick.
what I'm
'Cause I just started recording. I forgot to stop.
well, like I'm not an expert on it whatsoever, but Matt, are you able to? Because I can share a link if you want to
Can you
and
share
put
the
it in the
screen?
chat.
Oh,
I'm
gonna mute for a second. I got my
Okay.
editor here needs me. But yeah, keep going.
So like I said, I mean I'm definitely not an expert in it at all. I'm gonna put the link in
And
Slack.
we're actually looking at that right now.
Yes, exactly right. So if you go to page 241 in the book, it explains it talks about the map of consciousness a little bit, but it talks about the ebbs and flows like you were talking about in
Yeah.
from fear to execution.
Hmm.
So, but like I said, I can't really explain it so much as that it was mentioned.
Well, and I thought of it this way because I've worked with people. Remember when I used to work in tech? I remember there were certain people who were like they were like bulldogs. They could take a really complex problem and they could break it down into 27 steps, and then they would just like almost robotically just move from one to the next. Like I've known a lot of programmers who were that way, right? And they just kind of can just go boom, 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 and like working through even complex stuff, and they don't seem to get as emotional about it.
Well, yeah, they're in the logical
Yeah, which I
frame
think
of mind that they don't get caught up in.
right, and I was exactly, and I
Well,
would think
that's why emotions we are not respected in the business world.
yes, and though in this book, I think that the emotions do come in because
Yes.
like being a visionary and thinking outside the box, now the emotion has a place, but again, the people out there who maybe are less emotional and can just move through things, being. But maybe that will be talked about in this map of consciousness.
Yeah.
I was gonna Google that and see if there's a visual.
Well,
Yeah.
I've got a. Oops.
There are like a whole bunch of them.
Oh,
I
okay.
just
I've
searched
seen that.
images and a bunch of images came up.
Yeah. But it's like kind of the rainbow colored list, that thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I looked this up before. Now that it's similar to.
I think we should buy it. Is it something, Anne, that you've worked with that has like helped you?
Did she? Is she there? Where'd she go? We lost Anne. What happened? I don't know where she went.
Uh-oh. She lost consciousness.
She dropped.
I was trying to make a joke about that too.
Her map.
You got lost in the map of consciousness.
Apparently I did. You guys all froze and I was talking and then I was like, oh, maybe I'm the one who's frozen.
Mm-hmm.
I hate that when I say something really profound and no one hears it. But I was going to ask, Anne, have you used this in a way that has like helped you at all?
No, I reread this part of the book and just over the Thanksgiving break, and I had put a note to just look into it more. That's why it was when you were talking about that, it was like so top of mind for me. Like I knew exactly where. I was like, I know exactly what you're talking about. So it's definitely when you get to the conclusion part, it definitely addresses that. But I don't own the Power versus Force, which is the book that the map of consciousness is from.
Interesting. It cuts the three has three different delineations. The ones on the top are called spiritual paradigm. The ones in the middle are called reason and integrity, and the ones at the bottom are called survival paradigms. Like fear grief, apathy, guilt, shame. Those are way at the bottom. In the middle, it's
Yeah.
like neutrality, willingness, acceptance. At the top is like joy, peace, and enlightenment.
I bet you
Looking for
Jonathan
one.
knows about this stuff.
Oh yeah, maybe. I'm looking for one of these that has that delineation that you were just talking about. Oh, this one has love and fear, which we've
That
talked about
says,
that a little bit.
it says it's developed by David R. Hawkins.
Hmm.
Should buy the book.
I mean, I
Yeah.
think that. So, like, what's the question we're trying to answer? I think it definitely, when we are operating out of fear, it's like survival instinct, right? Like
Yeah.
not the evolved brain, like the prefrontal cortex or whatever that's allows these higher levels to exist.
Right.
It's like the animalistic, instinctive survival mode
Yeah.
kind of kicks in and takes over. Like the stuff we've been talking about, Ed, I think to some degree offline, is like, how these identity issues and things are like, they tie back into pure survival instinct. The fear of death, right? I mean, when fear of shame is like equivalent to the fear of death. Isn't it?
Right.
Isn't that kind of like our
Yeah.
ancestral history? Like that's how we
For sure.
That would be what we call like the what's the word? Evolutionary psychology. That's exactly what it says. The
yeah.
See, and it seems to me like too is to be able to go through that process of being a 2x thinker and getting closer to being a 10x thinker. There's probably certain things you can learn, and also maybe personality traits that help people be able to kind of weather the I guess, yeah, it's the fear that is generally going to happen, because if you're trying to do something completely new, that's going to be uncomfortable, right?
Well, yeah, totally. And you might like, oh, there it is. Spiritual paradigm, reason, integrity, survival paradigm. Yeah. I found one that has that kind of broken down. Yeah, it's going to be uncomfortable, and it's going to trigger that innate fear. It's like, I don't think people just don't do things just because they're hard. I mean, sometimes maybe, but I think it's more like because it's triggering this deeper fear.
Yes,
for sure.
But it's like
Yeah,
not. It's
there's all
very
kinds of
unconscious.
reasons. Well, and I think that's a lot of what. I mean, we're often. I was just reading. What's the book I'm reading?
Oh, it's a book by Robert Johnson called it's a psychology book.
Anyway, it's it talks about how we are so often guided by our unconscious learnings from childhood, right? And we don't really realize it until we slow down enough to acknowledge it and
Yeah.
and reflect on it and contemplate it, and because and often we wonder, why don't we follow through? Why can't I get up at 5 a.m. every morning and go to the gym?
Mhm.
No, make it happen. What is my problem? And it's just interesting to think about what messages or what did we pick up on as children from our parents, from people around us, and kind of took on as truth,
Right.
And what I'm learning about myself is it's more important to take care of other people than myself, if that makes sense, right? It's that I was brought up like that, right? And so for me to get up and go to the gym on my own by myself, it's against what I've been, how I was raised, right? And so it's a weird conclusion to come to, that oh, what you mean? So going to the gym is being self-centered and selfish. But I mean, not really, but maybe that's a conclusion that I draw. So
Right.
does that make sense? That's kind of how we,
Does make sense.
different ways we have been brought up to learn about ourselves, our psyche.
Well, or how about this to piggyback on that example of Mr. Beast, right? Like he got to this point where he realized that his effectiveness and his growth and his business was going to be so much stronger if he spent a lot of time creating one or two really top-notch videos, right? Instead of doing 10 or 20 videos that were pretty good, right?
But
But
how does that apply?
well,
Yeah.
my point is that I don't know that this will make sense, and that it's like, if the prevailing notion, if you see people who are really successful in that, say that sphere, right? Someone's trying to be a YouTube influencer, or Instagram or something like, if that's what their business was, if the like, if most people were doing lots of videos, right? So maybe for this guy to like change the paradigm for him and just spend a lot of time on just one or two, right? That might really be out of his comfort zone, because it's not doing it the way everybody does it.
Well, it's not what he learned. It's not, it's relearning, it's shifting paradigms. It's
But
shifting.
I'm just thinking, what is that skill to be able to, it's kind of like to if the crowd's going this way, the skill to go
The opposite.
the opposite way. Does that make sense, Ann? At all?
Yeah, I think so.
The path
I mean, I
less
definitely
traveled.
think that a lot of people probably feel the same way that you do about doing things for yourself as being selfish. If a lot of people didn't think that way, then when you get on a plane, they wouldn't tell you to put on your oxygen mask before your
Right.
kid, So I think it is very common for people to, especially I would say women, to think of others first, and to think of your job is taking care of other people, but not realize that if you're not in a position, if you're not taking care of yourself, you can't take care of other people too.
Absolutely. You got to put your oxygen mask on first. Yeah.
But how could that relate to what we're talking about? I mean, I totally agree. But how could that relate to this idea of what it takes to go from 2x to 10x?
Oh, so getting out of that paradigm. Um,
I mean, do you just have to be like Steve Jobs, who was like, laser focused and a complete jerk, or like,
well, but see, that's the extreme, right? I mean,
yeah, but I'm just wondering if what the application is with respect to what we're talking about.
Well, I mean, I also think what ended up happening after this book was written is that Mr. Beast ended up getting so big that no advertisers could afford to advertise on his videos. So he had to create Feastables, because it was the only thing that could, it was his own product, so they could run ads on it, but nobody could afford to, because the way that YouTube revenue works is that you're paying a chunk for every time your video, your ad plays.
Right. So are you
So
saying
he created,
that this book,
it just got too huge.
this book did that?
no. It happened after the book was written that Mr. Beast got even bigger
Wow. Fascinating.
and literally broke the way that advertising works on YouTube. And they had to reconfigure what to
Yeah.
do. So
That's
because
awesome.
otherwise, so he was too big. No one could afford to have product placement in his videos,
Right.
and no one could afford to run ads, because it would have cost way too much just to run an ad on one Mr. Beast video that has like 1 million views after it's been up for minutes.
That is fascinating.
Yeah.
And to think that he probably, at one point in his life, he wasn't the greatest at whatever. He probably was, immortal like the rest of us at one point.
he,
Oh, he's
he sold his soul.
No, but I
he's
mean,
definitely, yeah, he's definitely immortal, but now he has like a giant studio basically, where all it's just a compound where they can just throw ideas around and make videos and throw away ones they don't use. And
sounds fun.
Yeah, doesn't it? It's really
yeah,
cool.
but it was so, but what ended up happening was he has the deal with Amazon now for the Beast Games or whatever it's called. It's like challenges and stuff. But that, yeah, the only person that, or the only company he can do business with now is like Amazon, because they're the only one who can afford Amazon, Google, YouTube. They're the only
Wow.
ones big enough.
Wow.
Well, you see, and that's why, and I know I haven't gotten through the whole book. I need to, but a part of this that would fascinate me would be to be able to study a lot of these uber successful people who have gone 10x, right? When they were in more the place that we're in, right? When they were in that beginning phase, right? Yeah.
What, like, how did they shift into the,
Well, yeah, it's like, I mean, it's one thing to study and know what Steve Jobs finally did with the iPhone, but I would be also fascinated to find out when he was, just starting out, like, what was it like then? Yeah.
right?
I
Mhm.
don't, Matt, does that make sense too? Like,
Well, to persevere and to hold on to that vision
yeah,
and
Yeah.
or be open to these visions that you might that's the trick too, because I find I come up with ideas and then I share them with other people, and then if I don't get a wow, that's such a great idea, I get kind of like, oh, maybe it's not that great of an idea, maybe,
mm,
well, yeah, maybe it's, maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. Yeah, I second guess,
yeah.
you know. And then
Mhm.
so people that push through that have this, I mean, I don't know, Mr. Beast is kind of a um the first of his kind, right? I mean, to that level. Um I don't know,
And
but he
that,
just took what everybody else was doing and perfected it, I guess. Uh,
I have a thought on like how it all works. I don't know if it's the right answer,
Mhm.
Sure.
Please give us the right
but
answer.
Mhm.
so yeah, yeah. Well, basically, I'm mostly speaking on out of like what has I've seen in my own life, and yeah, I think I could see it in other people's too, maybe, but it's easiest for me to see it in my own. It has everything to do with an inherent desire, like a burning desire to do something that I don't have to manufacture and has nothing to do with what anybody else wants. Like they talk about that
Yeah,
in 10x in the book,
Mhm.
like getting in touch with what you actually want. And the reason I think that's so important is because nothing else fuels me to keep going when it's hard.
yeah,
It's like when it's not really working, it's like to power through, like you were saying. If it's now, I do think it's important, like for business, to find a solution or something, a product or whatever that you're providing that there is a demand for. So it's important that other people want it in that respect. But like there's a billion things like that. So it's like, which one thing are you doing? That has to be something that you want to do.
Right, and that
Does
comes
that
back.
make sense?
Remember, a few weeks ago, Matt, I was talking to you. It may have been on this, or just the two of us, about like how I'm also fascinated by the process of how you actually set these goals. Like, how do you
Yeah.
figure out, like what you just said, like what is that thing that you have this burning desire for?
Yeah. Well, and then there's another element to it too, which I also think is pretty much vital and also only shows up when you're not in fear, when you're in this like love enlightened, I guess, state, if you want to say
Mhm.
that, is the element of creativity. like when you're studying identity, this comes into play big time, because it's like your unique take on the thing that you really want to do is also vitally important. I think if you look at all the super successful people that we're talking about here, like, just taking the worldly success measure, which is like, scaled up big, made lots of money, whatever, did something that was like commercially successful, on a large scale. Not that that's the only worthwhile goal, but that's kind of what we're talking about, right? Is that like Walt Disney comes to mind. He imagined this thing on bare land that literally nobody else could see. And it only existed in his mind up until that point. And he was the only person that could ever have created that thing. And he might have not done it. There's probably
Right.
a bunch of reasons why he might never have done it,
Sure.
Right.
But so it was like this combination of a burning desire and the vision and like this unique creative element that we all bring. So I like creativity is a word that gets homogenized or whatever, where it's like you have to be an artist or something. But I think there's like creative accountants
Oh,
who
right.
do
Right.
accounting very, you know what I mean? Like they have their own unique thing and it makes them amazing at what they do. And so that's really what I think we're trying to tap into with this whole study is like, where does my burning desire intersect with my unique capability and creativity to create something new in the world that's very valuable to other people, but very, redemptive or whatever, but also very fulfilling to me, that makes me want it. That I would want to do. Usually the way I say it is like, I would still want to do it whether I was getting paid or not.
You're saying
Like I get up in
burning,
the morning, I just want to go do it.
burning desire intersects with unique skill.
Yeah, your unique capacity, unique capability, unique creativity,
Can you give me an example of how that would go?
Well, yeah, I think that like well, even stuff Jamie has talked about in some of his talks, like Einstein and Newton, like Newton wanting to figure out gravitational pull and the movement of planetary bodies and stuff without any, like without the equipment, just like having to figure it out based on observation that he had at the time and his unique gifting in the way of the ability to think about it, and just like who he was combined with what he wanted to do. I think that's a good example. I think Walt Disney again would probably be a good example. I mean, like I imagine that he was powered by wanting to bring joy to people. Like there's just something about him that like that was his big thing.
What did he do before?
Wait.
I wonder.
Hold on.
That's a good question. He might have, I think wasn't he one, didn't he draw cartoons?
Was
like
it
wasn't he
film?
animation?
Is that it? Was it the animation?
I think so, but I'd have to look it up. I don't really
Yeah,
remember.
that's
Let me-
interesting.
Let me just ask one more.
Just one more.
Good. Can you give me an example from your life, Matt, where do you think that those things cross?
Yeah, I think so. Let's see. I mean, I think that I like this business that we're doing right now has been sort of a testing ground for it. Because I like at the beginning of this year, I don't know if I told you guys this, but like last year Ann and I started this almost 2 years ago now, and like with a general idea of what we wanted to do, but then I went through this whole process of being very stuck in like kind of trying to figure it out or like package it, and come up with the right products or the right things that would, and I got away from
for a mastermind thing.
no, just for Free Flow CEO, just our business in general,
Okay,
our consulting and like the work that we do.
Right.
And so it just like I kind of got bogged down in it, frankly, for like kind of the second half of last year. And so we were just sort of maintaining, but there wasn't any real I didn't feel like my creative mind was on. It was kind of off. Like I didn't have new ideas or good ideas. I was just like we were taking care of the clients that we had, but then the rest of it, a bunch of energy was being spent on like trying to figure stuff out. But I realized finally at the beginning of this year that I was stuck in some wrong ways of even thinking about it and looking at it. And I had to get back in touch with what it was I actually cared about, like what fueled me, what motivated me. And and start talking to other people about what they needed. So then I could combine those two things. I went through this process of kind of like, the process that we do, right? Is like introspection and kind of meditation and just asking, being like, okay, just kind of reflecting, what really motivates me? Like, what do I really care about? And it didn't take that long, actually. It was like, for me, I love it when people thank me for something that I helped them accomplish, not just accomplish, but like kind of break through, where they were stuck. And then in some way I was able to help them move past that. So I was like, okay, the being thanked, it wasn't that I needed like public recognition. It's just sort of the evidence that something happened that was of value to them,
Right.
So I was like, well, then, so I dug another deeper. I was like, okay, so what is it about that matters to me? Like, why do I care? And the answer to that was because I love to see movement and I hate to see things being stuck when they don't have to be, and that goes back to like my original identities that I, got 10 years ago, like tiller of the soil and that type of thing, of like breaking through things that are trying to grow, but that are stuck under, like a layer of crust or unfertilized, or, just that type of thing. Or just not getting the air and nutrients that they needed in order to grow. So there was like an obstacle. And when I look back across my life, it's like, I've always been like that. Sometimes it's very helpful and sometimes it's very intrusive, depending on the situation and like how and when I apply it, because it can just sound like criticism sometimes. But in the right situation with the right person who's like really ready to receive it, and feeling stuck or wanting to grow or wanting to break through, then like what I have to offer is usually very welcome and very helpful.
See,
So then,
wow.
yeah. So then I had to figure out how to apply that to this business, because I knew we were in the right realm, like I knew I was doing the right type of thing, but I had to get really honest about how we were doing it and what we were doing specifically, because there's a bunch of ways to do it. Like, for example, technology and AI and automation and all that kind of stuff is like really tangential to what we do and something that we use a lot. But I am not an expert in that stuff, nor is it my like unique superpower. Right.
Well,
So it's a helpful tool, but it's not like I can't go promote myself as this AI automation specialist, because that's just not true,
yeah.
And I was kind of trying to be that, or thinking like that was the path. That was part of the thinking there, And like, look at my Strengths Finder, like that thing we were just looking at earlier. Like that's heavy execution, which is my non-strength, So
Mhm.
it's like essentially I was trying to operate in my area of weakness and kind of avoiding my areas of strength, which are way more in tune with like what we're doing now: thought leadership,
Right.
advising, coaching, consulting, that type of stuff. That's like it's where I found I can just easily operate. Like, I don't need a whole lot of preparation to
Mhm.
show up and do this kind of stuff. I can just kind of do it, and I'm interested in learning and enriching myself in those type of areas, so that because then it feeds this kind of thing, So it's
Well,
like, yeah,
yeah, beat you to it. Sorry. See, and that's why the word that jumps out of me, Matt, is if I had to pick a word, it's the word coach.
yeah,
And I think that's interesting because that you and I are very similar that way. Like, for instance, you could talk about this. Candace paints, so she actually creates a lot of her own stuff. I have always felt more, even like powerful, but in a good way, when I can teach. And I mean, I was working with a client that there's nothing more exciting for me than seeing my efforts with people catch fire with those people, right?
mhm,
And I think that's probably why I was attracted to talking to you 8 years ago, and why
mm,
I've kind of stayed in touch
yeah,
with you, and
yeah,
then the work that you and I've been doing, right? Because I sense that as I've been sharing, there's some really cool stuff, and that came up with couple of kind of like vision stuff that came up with this identity work that Matt just has walked me through, that I would imagine what you're saying, Matt, is that you get a lot out of that, and I think I would too.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, like, the stuff that we're doing, it's like very enjoyable. It doesn't like feel like work for me.
Well,
You know?
I'm wondering, as far as one of your strengths, is it observation? I mean, because if you walk into a business and you are able to see things that they don't, or you're able to understand, okay, what they need, because you say, I don't really even have to prepare. I just go. And I'm wondering what that is for you.
Well, see,
Yeah.
I think
It's cool.
it's reading people and their needs, because like Matt, you might not be the best person to go in, like, see the machinery that needs to get fixed in a right, but
Yeah.
I would
No.
love to hear your response to that, 'cause I think that's a great question, Candace. Is that what is it that a person like you, or even me, like we pick up on people, like where they're stuck, or where what we could turn them on to that could take them to the next level?
Right. Let's hear what he has to say.
I mean, the first thing that pops in my head is
Curious.
pattern recognition.
Pattern recognition. Okay.
Yeah. Like, I think I just store tendencies, and I like, oh, I've seen this before. This is what tends to happen when this is happening. It usually
Yeah.
means this is
Okay.
about to happen,
Yeah.
or like this is what needs to happen, And so
Right.
for some reason, it's just like pretty easy for me to think about things that way. And so
'Cause
then
I
I
think
can work backwards and be like, this, where'd this come from? Or I can like look forward for somebody and be like, don't do that. You should do this, because it's
Right.
gonna, like,
Well-
that's not gonna work as well as this would.
And that what sounds like with that is you're coming from the outside in. They're in it, right? And when we're stuck in a pattern, sometimes we can't see it. And
Oh,
so
yeah.
you coming from the outside, it's so much more obvious, maybe.
Yeah.
Does that make
Yeah.
sense?
Oh,
Okay.
totally. I mean, because I've been in my own situations in my own life where I completely can't do that or haven't done it well when I could have, or when you'd think I could have, but I just haven't, because it has to do with me, or it's like, like I'm not objective anymore. You
Oh,
lose
yeah.
objectivity.
You see, and that goes
Sure.
back to that idea of the fear, right? Is that because I think that when we're in our limbic system, in our fear, we are
Yeah.
not going to be creative.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, to tie this into this kind of, for me, it propels me towards like the teaching of Jesus or whatever, like the gospel of peace. The idea that the best reason to be connected with God or whatever, with Jesus, is like because he gives you the ability to have that objective perspective even when you're in the middle of your own mess.
Yes.
So it's like peace and hope and joy and clarity and creativity and all the stuff that you have at your best, even when you're in the middle of your own worst situation, without any of the circumstances having to change.
Yes.
Right? Like nothing has to change around you for that change to happen in you, and for you to gain that back to like your best operating mode.
How about a great example? The healing of Mary Magdalene, right? From, like, especially like in the chosen, the being the devils and all these things that were tormenting her, and then Jesus from the outside comes in, and the way I think about it is he just like was able to show her who she really was.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah, totally. So I would think of like the woman at the well, for
Yep.
example, among many examples.
Yeah.
But like he's calling out all these things about her life. You've had 5 husbands, you're, whatever, you're like not with your husband. The person you're with now is not your husband. And like he didn't say you have to change that first.
Right.
He just like triggered something in her that was like who she really was. And she went back and like just started telling people about that. She didn't go like, change her surroundings, her situation, her circumstances, her where she lived, who she lived with, like any of that kind of stuff. Nothing changed.
Yeah, like Jesus didn't have to go to where she lived and put on a seminar on how to not be an adulteress.
Yeah, or like relocate her or any of that. Yeah, nothing like that had to happen. She just realized, it's like had a shift, like a 10x jump, I guess.
I was gonna say that.
And then went and started acting differently out of that new reality. And you can see that kind of stuff happening a lot. I mean, in scripture and in a lot of stories, I think.
Well, new reality. That
well,
is the paradigm shift.
Well, and I'd be curious for you too, Anne. Like, does this resonate of like, in a way, this kind of feels like it takes the pressure off, because if I'm asking the right question, which is what is the intersection between, what was it again, between
What is
Your
this?
passion and your purpose.
right, your passion and your purpose, or your like that thing you're passionate about plus the thing that you're actually good at.
Where did I put that? Oh, it's right.
that as we get closer to that, especially like in our businesses, that the jump to something like 10x will be more, it will just kind of happen in instead of it feeling like such a hard journey and such a hard chore or something.
I think, have you done the I always pronounce this, the Japanese word with the circles. Have you done that with
Ikigai?
Matt? Yeah. What is it? Ikigai? Ikigai?
Yeah. We did
I
that
think
on
I've
here,
heard of
didn't we?
that.
Was that the week they were gone?
It was the right.
We missed the
probably
last
the-
2 weeks.
No,
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Did you go back
Thanksgiving,
and
we
watch
didn't
any of
eat.
it or not? Not really, because I could show you this.
no, I didn't.
I've heard of Ikigai.
I've just heard ikigai mean like your why in your life.
Yeah, it's like the convergence of a few different things. Here, I'll pull it up. But yeah,
don't
keep
think that-
going, Ann. If you want.
Yeah, what I was going to say is, because we kind of talked about something that's very similar to exactly your question. So it's what you love, what you're good at, and then where all these things intersect, and then in the very middle is exactly where your passion meets your purpose.
Right.
I'll share it.
Right, because like my passion for golf, unfortunately, I will never. It's not physically. Even Jesus could not get me mad at this point and to the senior tour. Okay, there's
Yeah.
no way that could happen. But I still have a huge passion for golf, but it doesn't connect with like enough skill or something or time.
Yeah. So you can see. Do you see the diagram now? Is it up?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, it doesn't mean you can't have that thing in your life. Of course, like you need some, like it's a hobby, a passion project or whatever. But it's like the world doesn't need you to be good at golf, and the world not going to pay you for however good you are at golf or bad at
Right.
it. Doesn't matter.
But
Right.
But it could be part of like putting your own oxygen mask on if it helps your sanity.
Yeah, and
No,
it could
right,
relate because what could happen is becoming a golf mental coach.
Yeah, because you're passionate about golf, and then you move like what you're good at and can be paid for.
Right.
On the counseling side, that moves into profession, and people need that. So yeah, then you start to have all of the elements.
Powerful. Wow, this is a cool diagram.
Right. Yeah. My other buddy found a podcast or like a book. I think it's a book that was going more in depth on it. But it's a Japanese concept, and there's especially like Okinawa, or there's like a fishing village or something that's like, this is a very big part of their way of life. And the people there live longer on average than anybody in the world.
Right.
And they say it's partly due to their, the climate, the environment, their diet, their routines, but also this is a big element that they have purpose in what they do, you know, and so they're basically like living with the grain instead of like going against it all the time
Right. See, I think
in
this
their
is,
makeup, you know.
yeah, I think that this is what speaks to me is when I, because I got through like the first almost half of the book, and then I haven't read. I've been listened to. I haven't listened to more, but that was the thing that I think I told you about, Matt. That's like my excitement was here, but then the like fear was like, how does this translate into like actually knowing and doing and like what goals to set, right?
Mhm.
But this is making it more clear.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and it sounds like you already have some pretty good ideas about what it could look like in
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
practicality.
True.
You know, like the intensive book
Mhm.
writing, sports psychology. Those are all three very tangible things, you know.
Right.
And that definitely is the goal, like for the record of this group, is not just to like feel good or learn something. It's to learn or become aware and then apply it through a strategic thinking process, you know, like, okay, what does this actually look like? And then what are the steps I need to take?
Yeah, and it's up to you, Candace, if you ever want to share it. But Candace got like a few years ago an amazing idea for a business.
Had.
Am I pushing you in to tell it?
Oh, I don't know. I could talk about it. Do you want me to talk about it?
I just want you to just
Yeah.
tell them briefly.
Oh, okay. Well, I was thinking, I don't know if y'all have ever used dating sites.
Never have actually.
The world, that's kind of how everybody meets people nowadays, and it's awful. People are having the worst experiences, being ghosted, it's just awful. And anyway, I had an idea of starting an app for dating, just, same thing, a dating app, but apply the psychological component to it, and have little trainings, mini trainings or whatever on there. And, and we would be like the
Interesting.
spokespeople for that
Like
app.
how to prepare for a
How to
day.
well,
How do you
yeah. And,
how do you want to write your thing on
well,
Tinder or
well,
Or your
and how to
profile and stuff.
get
Yeah.
over your fears. If you're really struggling with anxiety, what do you do? I mean, obviously it's not therapy, but it can
Yeah.
get people thinking. Because I don't I don't know. It's just an idea. It's different than all the others that are out there. I mean, there's like what, over 1,000
They're a lot.
dating
It's
apps.
gotten crazy, hasn't it? Yeah.
It's crazy. And I mean, even if we just got, if we were the top 200, that would be amazing, because it's a multi-billion-dollar industry.
Yeah.
I'm sure. Anyway, that's a thought.
And part of
Yeah.
and part of what was got my gears turning on this one is the element of the training, because so many people
Yeah.
are making so much money. And again, we wouldn't do it for money, but
Yeah, we would.
well, yeah, that'd be part of
Yeah,
it.
why not?
But the thing is if you could figure out a way to create training modules that actually gave people actionable information and or experience
Well, and
of like the major pitfalls, like what do you do if you've gone on a date with a guy or a gal and suddenly they're moving too fast, right? How do you handle that? Or how do you know that, just all these,
well, just
because we hear it in our practice all the time, how just fed up people are with the whole dating scene.
well, and yeah, and there's so many lonely people. I mean, it's wild how hard it is to be single nowadays, especially if you're not like this extrovert person. But anyway,
Wow.
Yeah.
And what just jumped into my head. I'm so glad you guys mentioned this before. Interesting. See, what you just talked about, Candace, was a passion that you have, a passion like
well, I see a need for sure.
right. But I think you have a passion also to help people. But maybe
Sure.
what you or I, people don't like, we're not programmers, we're not app makers, we're not
Mm-mm.
AI people, right?
Right.
And if we try to be that, that might really slow you down, because
Totally.
maybe your
That's not my skill.
yeah, Does that make sense?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, there could be, yeah, like a roadblock that's actually maybe not as much anymore, but like for a long time has been a big barrier for a lot of people
Hmm.
doing something like that. Um, but yeah, I mean, to me, that's a perfect example of what we were talking about a little earlier, where like what was it? Like your unique ability and creativity intersects with your skill set. Now I can't remember the two things that I was talking about being
Yeah,
like
no,
overlapping,
that
but
was
it's
good.
like,
Well, right. It's
but you're
unique
bringing your
skill.
unique twist to a problem that you want to solve, right? Like to the,
Hmm.
Well,
and
and
so,
again, it's a lot of it is it's how people are going to apply themselves ultimately anyway. So it's as far as this idea, it's just putting out that um paradigm that way, you got to work on yourself if you want to, you got to understand your psyche. Whether people will do it or not, I don't know, but I'm
hmm,
just saying that that puts out the message that, hey, this dating site is, people on this dating site are doing their work, whether they
oh,
are or not. Do you know what I mean?
Or so
oh, that'd be your, yeah. Well, and that'd be the type of people you'd attract, right? I
Well,
mean,
you would think, right? And then people would go, oh, like if they watched, certain trainings, it would show up on their profile. Hey, I watched this training. I watched that training. It's just,
yeah, interesting.
I don't know.
Yeah. No.
It's I
I
don't know.
mean,
I have no idea how to even start something like this. I have no idea.
Well, I mean,
right.
I think it makes sense because the eHarmony was a lot like what you're talking about, but the reason that I don't think it went out of business. I think it got bought, but you had to pay because it was very extensive. And then what they did was they dumbed down their process to compete with free sites like Go
right.
Plenty of Fish and OkCupid and all those. So I think that that's where they they compromised and
But hey,
they shouldn't have.
we lost the first, like,
Oh,
we lost you like
Mm.
four
he was getting a phone
sentences
call.
ago.
We're on his phone.
Sorry.
So,
Oh,
Hmm.
oh, I was saying that that's what you're talking about was like what eHarmony was like when it first started, but eHarmony dumbed down their process to compete with the free hookup sites.
right.
But rather than stick
Yeah.
to what they were good at, which was being
Well,
thorough and trying to get people into relationships, not to get,
But
you know.
even that being said, I know I never used eHarmony, but I don't know that it ever like displayed all those things. I think it just like used it in the ingredients, right? Like
Yes, I don't
your
I don't think it
profile,
did.
your psychological profile,
Yeah.
but it was like an algorithm, right? It wasn't like out
Yeah,
on display for everybody
right.
Yeah, I never
that I
used
know.
it either, but I remember that people were complaining because it was like you had to pay for it, but it wasn't just there was a process. It wasn't like you just make a profile and say this is what I want. It actually had data behind it.
Right.
right. And
I yeah.
that's what I'm talking about. And to
Right.
actually give people opportunities to learn some skills on the app, um, in this process of trying to find a partner. I mean, finding a partner, it's complicated.
It seems like it has definitely changed from when, yeah, from even not that long ago. I can actually
Yeah.
validate that idea a little bit. I got a buddy who's been part of a coaching program that's designed, I mean, specifically to help guys overcome the fear of approaching women and like how
Mm,
to, like
that's awesome.
Yeah.
how to meet women and talk to them and, get to know them and all the whole process. Right. And it's like the guy's been very successful with it. And of course, it like really gets at a lot deeper things and is more of like a life enrichment thing at the end of the day. But the initial objective is to help with your dating life, right? And so
Yeah.
I think that there's a lot of different ways that something like this could go. It could become like a coaching program you know,
Right.
or it could be just on the app. I mean, there's a lot of different kind of mediums you could use. It sounds like you have a decent outline, though. I'll tell you this: if you have the content, you know, if you kind of know what it is you want to talk about and teach, or tools you want to use, and all that kind of stuff, there are people who can help you with the context or whatever, like putting it together and getting it produced. That part it's not like easy, but I mean, for some people it is easy. You know what I mean? Like people who are geared towards that. In fact,
They're like app makers and stuff.
yeah, exactly.
So the content really is our part anyway. That would be
Exactly.
how we would do it. I would think of us
Mhm.
as being the face of the product too, because we met at Match.com and we've got a story, and
Yeah.
so stories sell, right? And
100%. Yep.
and
Yep.
so
And I wonder, Matt, if your friend might have gotten part of his inspiration from that movie they like so much with Will Smith called, it's like Stitch or Sitch, what was it called?
Hitch. Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Hitch.
because that's exactly what that guy does.
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. It's
It's
kind
a
of definitely
thing
along
for
those
sure.
lines.
I have quite a few single clients that really struggle.
Yeah.
And and they get stuck on these beliefs about themselves. I'm overweight, I'm not attractive enough, I don't make enough money. I mean, it's crazy how much gets in the way of them pursuing it. Or I wouldn't know what to talk about, I'm too shy, and there's somebody for everybody. Holy cow.
Yeah.
I'm always surprised how people find each other sometimes.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Well, okay. So let me ask you a question. Since we're talking about it, like, if you were going to deliver that content today to somebody, how would you do it?
The content. Well, kind of a lot of how I'm talking to you right now, talking about how difficult it is out there, all the stories that I hear about people, trying these apps, these dating apps, and being really hurt, disappointed, re-injured emotionally over and over again, to the point where they don't even want to take that risk anymore. If they reach out to somebody, they literally just text somebody, it can be paralyzing. And so I think what I'd want to see is helping people through that emotion and helping them to see how to strengthen, I don't know, that how to overcome those insecurities, how to recognize that it's not personal, right? To get to a point where, I don't know, I'm not sure. I've got it
No,
written down.
yeah. No, I get where you're going with it. So let me, I'm being really particular here about what I'm trying to ask you.
Sure.
So like, let's say you had a person in your living room there who like ready to pay you money, a little or a lot, to help them through this process. How would you deliver the solution today? Would you like coach them through it? Would you hand them a book you've already written? Would you hand them a digital course you've already created? Does that make sense? Like, what actual modality would you use to deliver the stuff that's for sure in your head already?
Well, and there you go. I think I could create it to be presented as if it's individualized. For example, if somebody has social anxiety, I could help them with that anxiety, help walk them through some exercises, help show them, what core beliefs are under that. Maybe what.
The thing is, that would be more like
So
a
like,
therapy session.
so like an individual coaching or therapy session.
But not what it would be is just the beginning, right? Helping
Like
open up that, because that's what
Sure.
the app would be. It wouldn't be therapy. But I mean,
Yeah.
we could have, I don't know, you can have links to therapists, I mean,
Oh
we
yeah,
could
create like a network or something. Yeah.
yeah, and
Yeah.
and help them to understand, okay, it sounds like you have social anxiety. Here's what can really help you. And to really further deepen the healing process, you might want to reach out to a therapist. I mean, I don't know. A lot of people don't realize they have social anxiety, or they just, or their triggers or their traumas are influencing how they view the world, and what keeps them stuck, and why do people not leave their house. I mean, there's so many reasons.
Well,
Anyway,
and the
for
app,
No,
me,
no, no.
I would have to organize this. Can you see
Okay,
how
yeah,
it
yeah.
just goes
Mhm.
blah 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 blah?
That's what I was asking. I was kind of asking like in the vein of a question, like if you had to get up on stage and deliver a 30-minute speech on any topic, what would you talk about?
I
You
love
know what I
that.
mean?
Yeah.
That kind of question, right? It's like what's already in your mind that you can just deliver, teach, talk about, work with somebody, you know what I mean? Which
Uh-huh.
there's obviously a lot there. So what I'm getting at is from a business perspective, something called an MVP, a minimum viable product. You're familiar with that term?
No.
So this is from the book called The Lean Startup, which is a great resource. And it talks all about, well, the story it uses is, a team or a guy who had an idea and did all this research and development and created this product over months and maybe years and money and time and all this stuff, and then brought it to market, and it totally flopped
Mm.
because he did development of the product, but he didn't do any market research. He didn't like
Research.
test it in reality to see if there was actual demand for what he was doing.
yeah,
And so the contrary way to operate is to take the most simple version of what it is you're trying to do and get it ready. You have to do some prep, but when you get it ready, as soon as it's possible to put it in somebody's hands to try it out, to do it, get it out there
oh,
and get it in the market of as many people as you can who would potentially use it, even if you're doing it for free. It's just like you gotta stress test it, and see if people actually want the solution you're presenting. That was
Yeah.
the problem with actually the thing Ann and I were doing when we met, was that there was no demand for the solution. It's like nobody cared. It sounded cool and everybody's like, oh, that's cool. And then when you went to there was no market for it though. That was the
well,
problem.
Mhm.
and
And that's a good
and it's
question,
not
yeah.
partly because where my head goes is that part of where what the technology could do is be sort of diagnostic, meaning just like
Yeah, it could be
we've
an
been
assessment,
and
Yeah,
an
all these
assessment.
Yeah,
strength finders, these, yeah.
That by
right.
these, you answer these 30 questions, and then it's going to give you a profile of probably where your fears are and where your confidence is when it comes to
Yeah. Yeah.
dating or something.
Well, and focusing down on, okay, what are your core values, right? When it comes to dating, and what are you
Yeah.
looking for in a partner? And, you know, I mean, it goes, seriously, this,
Well,
there's so much that can go
well,
into this. It's
yeah.
like you say,
Well, but what I was going to say that relates to what you said, Matt, about getting it out there is that, um, again, it's like just because it's cool, just because it does
well, you got to know if it's viable.
well, right? Because I'm just thinking, like, if I'm a person, I'm a 20-year-old, like the idea of having a free app is great. I love that. What would cause me to put money down regularly
Mhm.
to do something like that? To me, is a question that I would want to ask, right?
Yeah, for sure. And it's best to ask that, like, well, you can survey people and just kind of ask them, or you can like present a potential offer and see what the response is.
See, but I
Uh,
like that, Matt, because that
yeah,
it doesn't let you get too far along in your
yeah,
process and
Well,
being completely disconnected from an actual need.
and it can help you learn what not to do too,
right,
right?
exactly. Yeah,
what works,
exactly.
what doesn't work. It kind of can help streamline. Is that the lean startup? Is that what that book goes into?
Yeah, like yeah, exactly. Like the process of developing your idea into a solution that has product market fit is another one of their terms, where you have the thing and the consumer and they like match up. There's enough demand for your solution that it becomes commercially viable.
Right.
And so what I was thinking is like the way to go about it is there's ways you can deliver that right now. It takes your time is the biggest investment,
Right.
but you could do it. You could think of different ways you could do it and kind of start to do it.
You could
Like
actually market
ask
test
the
this.
question, like, do you struggle with this or that? Or, pose it in a way that you're going to get people who, to respond and then say, would you be interested in a session? You could charge for it, or you could make it free, or you could whatever, but you just like start putting it into practice.
I mean, I think she could start putting into practice working just with her existing clients.
That could
She
be,
could just
you might have
say,
a built-in.
we could just say, ask the ones that might be struggling with it and let them know, hey, part of this process, I've got these ideas. You walk them through it. You find out, do they like it? Do they not?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, but I mean, yes, and I don't imagine the app being one that is going to do therapy, and so I don't see that happening necessarily.
No, but I'm saying that what you could do is you could be testing their
just some of their interest in the product. Oh, I see.
because
What you mean.
the
Okay.
app it would
Okay.
there would be a fine line between this and therapy, I think.
Yes.
Yeah, because
And I was gonna say, I know we're almost out of time, but man, I would at some point, Matt and Ann, love to hear your story of how you dealt with that problem that you just said you ran up against.
How did we deal with that? Not sure. Yeah. I mean, not every quote unquote good idea ends up working. There's tons of, examples of that.
Sure.
And that's okay. That's just part of the process. I don't know. I think it's so, well, I don't know, Candace, I think it sounds like a good idea or like a very potentially good idea,
Thank
So
you.
then it's
Yeah.
just a matter of,
Yeah. I just think it at the very least it would have this illusion of maybe it's something different.
yeah, right. No, right. Exactly. Yeah. And that's what gives it a chance, I think. I mean, among other things, but it being unique. Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's what drives so much in our world is finding our partner, everything from the weight loss industry, the cosmetic industry, to the and everything, really, everything. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
okay.
It's pretty,
Well,
no kidding.
thank you for
Yeah.
hearing me out, because it is kind of one of those things that you share, and if nobody thinks it, then I'm like, all right, I guess I won't do it.
You always have to consider your audience too when you're talking like that, right? Because it's like you say something to one person that may be like whatever, and to another person or group of people, and it may totally resonate, So
So true.
you want to be mindful of that.
So true. Wow.
But I mean, in general, yeah.
I could do a
Let's
market
go for it.
research thing. That would be interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like play to your strengths, like go with the modalities that you like and are comfortable with. Because you can always, I guess the end of what I was thinking is that like you go through this process in whatever way you already can do it easily, and you can that'll help you refine it into the thing that it needs to be. And you can, once you kind of have that, like a better grasp on it, you can automate it or turn it into a piece of technology. It's much easier to do that once you kind of have the structure of it already. Does that make sense? If you start to just try to build an app now without really knowing what it is exactly, it's kind of out of order.
Right. Oh, for sure.
You know what I mean?
Makes sense.
Yeah. Delivery.
Are we done? Was it an hour and a half? Is that what we do?
Yeah, I think I think so. Yeah. I don't think I have anything pressing, but yeah, we can wrap
I,
it up.
I hope you got to what you wanted to do, Matt. We had a lot of talking to do on this side.
No, that was awesome because I just came back off vacation. I haven't done anything for a week. So I was just showing up and seeing how it went today, basically. But,
Nice.
so that went great. I'm glad you guys had stuff on your mind.
Good.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah, that was perfect.
Awesome.
Ikigai.
Thank you, guys. I know you can say that. That's been a recurring theme. I mean, I think it really connects with
How, and Matt, how would I go and watch that video?
the Ikigai thing.
Yeah.
I'll
Do
just
I
send it
go-
to you. It's
But-
my buddy texted it to me. I don't know. I don't have another. I think it's on Spotify. Do you have
That-
Spotify?
I do.
I'll see. I'll find the link and just share it with you.
Can I show you guys our best friend here?
Oh yeah, hey buddy,
Aww.
This is Juno, the Boston Terrier.
Boston.
She's what I call a cat dog. She doesn't act like a dog. She just she has a mind of her own.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
Yeah. Cool.
Alrighty.
Gino. All right.
Well, thanks
Well-
you guys. This has really been. This has been really good. I have my gears are.
Nice. Awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah, good deal. Glad to hear it. Keep it cranking, it's like progress. Feel free to invite other people if you have anybody in mind who you think.
I've invited 2 people. I have not gotten them to bite yet, but I'm gonna keep trying.
No worries.
Awesome.
All right.
All right, you guys.
Good stuff,
All right.
guys. Have a good one. We will
Bye.
See you next week.
see you later.
Bye bye.